There he is. Hey Dave, do you still think that I'm crazy? Alright y'all, yeah, I do believe that Dave Ramsey probably thinks I'm crazy. I've mentioned Dave in a lot of videos, but just in case that there's any doubt here, I am, no, wrong book. I am a huge fan of Dave Ramsey. I mean, this was one of the first, I think, personal finance books that I read, and I used this almost exclusively when I was working with my clients when I first started my career as a financial advisor. So I have a lot of love for Dave, and plus, Dave's office literally is just like minutes from my house. So if I want to stop by, say hi, I could. Haven't done that with the new office yet. Did do that with his last office. That being said though, just because I love the man doesn't mean that I always agree with everything that he has to say. Dave, please don't hate me. Now it's been a hot minute since I've done a reaction video here on the channel, but whenever I saw this video that Dave did where he was giving advice to a 22-year-old on how to build wealth, well, it got my attention. Because this is the Wealth Hacker channel, and all we were talking about here is how to accelerate our wealth building. And I know that Dave typically doesn't like to talk about getting rich quick. He would prefer that you get rich slowly. So we're gonna find out what advice that Dave gave to this 22-year-old, and you're gonna hear my reaction along the way. Let's find out what Dave had to say right now.
Going to start off this hour in New York City. Hi, Tony. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, Tony.
What's up, Dave? What's up, John? How are you guys?
Great, man. How can we help?
I don't know who the other guy is.
Yeah, so I'm a 22-year-old college
Maybe
senior. I got 1 year left. I have no debt. My mom paid cash for the school, so I'm good.
Wow.
I had a job back in March, but I lost it because of COVID. And so I just decided to sign up for unemployment because all of my friends were kind of doing it. And I ended up getting about $18,000 from unemployment. I'm guessing.
Hey Tony, all my friends signed up for unemployment, so I might as well do it. I like how he said that. Maybe he felt guilty for applying for unemployment, but man, trust me, there are a ton of people applying for unemployment, so don't feel guilty, Tony.
Guessing that's free money. I don't know if it's taxable. Actually, they took out taxes. And so I was wondering, what's the best way for me to go so that I can basically be financially free or wealthy, how you call it, because I just found you yesterday actually.
Okay, this is interesting. So he's a year left, no debt because his mom paid for his school, and now he wants to know how he can be financially free. I love the question. Maybe a little bit premature since I don't think we even have a job yet, but okay. Once again, I like the fact he's thinking this. I don't know if I was thinking this whenever I was 22, so I'll give Tony some credit.
Oh, goodness. Well done, sir. So what is your degree in? Going to be in?
So I'm studying finance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I can respect that.
The job that you had lined up was for after you completed your degree?
No, it was just a job just for income, for money.
Oh, I see. Okay. And you graduate when now?
I graduated in 2 semesters.
So this time next year?
Yeah, about.
Okay. All right. Well, I think you hold on to that money to ensure that you graduate and continue the debt-free journey that you're on, which is absolutely awesome. Mm-hmm. That's very, very cool.
Have you hugged your mom today, Tony? Have you told her that you loved her and she set you up to win?
I probably should, now that you say that.
Tony, every day you wake up, you go tell that lady, thank you for setting me up for a life that is going to be debt-free.
Because it's just one.
I don't know who this guy is, but he's speaking some truth. Mom deserves a hug and a kiss and a thank you every single day. Every day. Tony, I hope you did it.
Wonderful. Very few people get the gift that you've gotten here. So it's
I know. I'm very lucky.
You are.
I just wanted to know, what's the best way for me? It's not the best question, but it's very general. But what's the best way for me to get wealthy? I don't want to say rich, but wealthy is the best way.
Yeah.
To say.
Well, either one's okay. Neither one are immoral. It's not immoral to be rich. It's not immoral.
Picky, rich,
you're not
wealthy.
A bad person automatically if you're wealthy. And so one thing you do want to do is break that out of your head. And so because if you're other-centered, you can do a lot of wonderful things with money. like your mom did.
Yeah.
Okay? She used money to do this wonderful thing for you, and you'll be able to do that yourself many times over. So,
and I actually do love what Dave is saying here, and I love it because this is something that I struggled with for a while. You know, not that I was always money hungry. There are definitely times where, you know, greed got the better of me. But whenever I realized, like, okay, this is more about just making money. You know, it's just about just helping people. But then, like, you know, I just started making so much that I didn't need it all. And it's like, okay, but then I figured out there's ways I can make more money. And it didn't take a lot of work. You know, it was just one of those, you know, just business principles, business practices, call it a gift, call it just, you know, right people, right time, whatever that is. And I just remember I talked to so many, you know, mentors and spiritual leaders along the way, and just reminding me that, like, making money is not a bad thing. You know, it's basically, what is the desire behind that? You know, if you're just making money so that you can log into your checking account, your bank account, and just see all the zeros and all the commas and check that every single day, that is not, you know, that's not good. But man, like, whenever you can recognize, like, you know, making money, when it can benefit not just yourself and your family, but it can impact hundreds, if not thousands of others, then, like, that ain't a bad thing. So, all right, Dave, respect.
It's a big question. It's probably too big for a radio answer. I'll tell you the biggest thing, a couple things. Number one is to be doing what you're doing now, gather knowledge, be very intentional with your money. Most people just kind of wander.
So one thing, number one is keep doing what he's doing, asking questions, being curious, getting knowledge. I mean, I don't know what prompted Tony to call in, you know, to Dave's show, but like that takes a lot of risk. You know, there's some boldness there. I mean, just like, man, I am a year away from graduating. I'm broke. My mom paid for my school. I'm going to call Dave Ramsey and start asking him questions. Like, many people don't have the courage to do that, whether it be shame or fear. But man, not Tony. You know, I don't know, maybe Tony's mom got him to call. I don't know. But nonetheless, like, he did it. I mean, give him credit for that.
Wander along and then wonder what happened. And if you'll just be very intentional, then that will lead you to doing a budget. That will lead you to living on less than you make. That will lead you to generosity. That will lead you to avoiding debt. That will lead you to investing. And those are the keys to building wealth. But no one does that accidentally. No one wins the Super Bowl on accident. It's an intentional act. And so,
you know, so what Dave is saying here is, and I think about my own journey, you know, me investing for the first time, that was me getting my internship at a local investment firm and talking to one of the brokers there, and them recommending me purchasing these mutual funds that weren't really that good. They were actually kind of crappy. But nonetheless, like, that was intentional, meaning they didn't intentionally recommend crappy mutual funds. Maybe they did, I don't know. But the intent was, I want to learn how to invest and I want to start investing. Please show me how. And that was intentional. And then with that came even more knowledge, even more experience. And ultimately that led to investing into individual stocks, investing into my blog, investing into my online business, and courses and mentorships and mastermind groups, etc. It all started with that intentional act of just investing. At that time was $25 a month.
Asking the question, you've started that process of being intentional.
So, Dave, there's a lot of media sensations that pop up with, you know, a couple of college friends come up with an idea and they have an IPO and they turn into overnight thises and that's. Is it been your experience, though, that the vast majority of people who build, and I love that he already knows the distinction here, the build.
Let me just say that me and my high school, college buddies, we had never had discussions about an IPO, starting a company. I mean, I think we were just talking about how are we going to graduate college, how are you going to get a job, get a job. Apparently, I needed to surround myself with some bigger thinkers than my friends. Now, I love my friends; they were great, but these were things that I was not having conversations about at all, period.
Build wealth. It takes a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, get rich quick just does not work.
Right.
Statistically, it's so rare. And the interesting thing is those that do it very seldom keep it. And so because they didn't build the infrastructure in their character to carry it, and
I like that.
It fritters away. You build the muscles by increment. By struggle after struggle after struggle, because a muscle is.
So the comment that the other dude, I need to find out who that guy's name is, that he liked what Dave said about having the proper infrastructure in your character, and I mean that's almost like a tweetable right there, and I'm not sure. I mean, Dave's kind of making a general comment here, and as far as people getting rich quick. I don't know if that's just like people that do a startup like a Facebook and they don't keep it. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg has kept it because he's now one of the richest people in the world. But I think this easily applies to those that inherit a large chunk of money, whereas maybe the parents didn't do a good job of giving them that infrastructure, or people that win the lottery. I mean, you see those stats all the time where lottery winners, like every single penny that they made from their winnings is gone like in a couple years, and a lot of times they end up filing bankruptcy. You see that a lot in professional athletes, where all of a sudden they're making millions upon millions. And how many times have you seen a guy who made 30, 40, 50, 70, 80 million dollars in his career and he's broke? And I mean, so they did not have the infrastructure that Dave is alluding to.
Was built by tearing. A muscle is built by destruction, by pain. It is not built by comfort. And so that gradual, over a 10, 12, 15-year period of staying out of debt, living on less than you make, being intentional, doing some things that your friends don't do, not doing a bunch of things your friends do, and that kind of a thing. You have a life, but you're just very smart and wise about it over a period of time. That is how wealth is built. I talked to a young man this morning.
I love how Dave is using the working out analogy. I mean, I love to work out, and I totally get that. The way that you want to grow, the way that you want to get muscle, you got to tear it down. You got to tear it down. And I think about with my own journey, not working out, but also becoming rich, amassing wealth. And there have been times where I just know my character. There definitely was a time in my life I didn't have the proper infrastructure with my character, and had I received the money that I started making later on in my career, I mean, it would have been gone. Like, it would have been gone in an instant. And even and there's been some tendencies here in the last couple of years for those that follow me on here on YouTube and see you haven't seen my entire sneaker collection. But, I have spent, I'm sure, several $1,000s on sneakers over the past couple of years. And I'm grateful that I can afford that now, and doesn't impact, my income, doesn't affect to put food on the table, does not impact how much that we give, to our church and various charities. But it's just one of those things where if I had a little bit more money when I was younger, and I had the what I know now about sneakers, like, man, I would have gone probably bankrupt, because I would have overmaxed all my credit cards trying to get the latest sneaker drops and who knows what. I mean, I did not have that infrastructure in place, for sure.
35 years old, came up to me and whispered, he said, "I'm an everyday millionaire."
Wow.
And works on our team.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Walked up to me after staff meeting and said, "I'm an everyday millionaire." I said, "How old are you?" 35. I mean, he said, "I started working your plan 12 years ago, just out of college." He said, we've always lived exactly what we teach here, to the dime, to the penny, intentional. And he makes good money, but he does, he didn't get paid $1 million a year, I'll tell you that.
He doesn't make millionaire money, right?
No, he doesn't make millionaire money, but he is.
Right.
Because he just that steady, the tortoise wins the race, not the hare.
Every time.
Yeah. And that's all the data we have on millionaires tells us that's how they do it.
And that same idea works for marriages, for mental health, for physical health, for weight loss.
Yeah.
You said that right when I came on. I don't even know if you remember saying that to me, but you said, "John, I've read that book, The Tortoise and the Hare, a whole bunch." And the tortoise
Okay, so I just want to break down a few things that Dave and the co-host have to say. Obviously, I have agreed with a lot. There's one thing that he said that I want to go back on and rewatch and address, just talking about for those that want to amass wealth, become rich faster. They want to do it with with the hare versus the tortoise. And I just want to give some comments on that, but I got to go watch that first, and then I'll have my commentary to break that down. Overall, there were a lot of things that Dave said that I totally agreed with, I loved, and it was hard, to answer Tony's question. And once again, give Tony some credit for calling in, speaking to somebody who is, more than twice his age, seeking advice from a very high-profile personal finance expert. Now, one of the things that Dave referred to was about getting rich and being careful not to get rich too quick.
Yeah, get rich quick just does not work, right, statistically. It's so rare. And the interesting thing is those that do it very seldom keep it. And so because they didn't build the infrastructure in their character to carry it. And
I like that.
It fritters away. You build the muscles by
And I know, Dave already thinks that I am crazy. Dave has made a few cameos here on the channel, talking about how sometimes I disagree with some of the things that he says. And I don't disagree with him saying, like the dangers of trying to get rich quick. And I think if we think about the people that are what they're trying to do, what they're trying to achieve, typically that means they're trying to buy a penny stock and thinking it's going to quintuple or 10x in a month, or they think that every stock that they buy is going to be Tesla and it's going to go up 30,000x in a year's time. And that is, do those situations happen? Yes. But can you bank all your money that is going to happen? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean there isn't ways to accelerate your wealth building. I mean, this is what I'm talking about here on the Wealth Hacker channel. Basically just trying to show you ways that you can hack your wealth. And I came from, that world is talking about investing for the long term, averaging 8 to 10% return. And I get the importance of that, but that's not the only way to build wealth. And I know that, Dave has other, books and videos where he's talking about entrepreneurship and starting a business. And, that is how, and really the only way that you're going to build wealth, unless you want to start researching how to, trade stocks and trade options. I mean, that's another way as well. But basically it is, as Dave said, doing things different than other people. I mean, that is the only way. Usually he's referring to that to, just living different as far as like you're not getting the cars and you're actually saving and you're living with your means, and all that stuff does work for sure. But a lot of times it does take longer. And I know that Dave is a bigger proponent of getting rich slowly. And yeah, does the tortoise, he said that the tortoise always wins the race. I don't know about that. I think there's been plenty of examples of hares that are crushing it. And yes, sure, some of them probably gonna blow it all, but I've seen plenty of examples of those that were the hare and they've made a lot of money and they're still making a lot of money and they are enjoying it. And most of the time, the cutting the teeth, cutting the muscle, that discomfort wasn't so much that 10, 20 years of experience of investing and not buying everything that they wanted. It was through business, through entrepreneurship, through trying something that didn't work with the business and having to adapt. I mean, think about all the business owners right now that are having to go through the pain of going through this pandemic. I mean, it's just atrocious that a lot of people are having to deal with. So that is just one area with his message that I'm not fully on board with, although I totally understand where he is coming from. But yeah, I've enjoyed being the hare and beating the crap out of the tortoise. What can I say? So what do you think about Dave's comments on helping this 22-year-old Tony on building wealth? Is there anything that you felt that he missed? Anything else that you would add? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.